Hey guys, and welcome back to Castle Crush, and today we are going to be playing with the #1 players deck here, and of course this changes day to day, but today it happens to be Patrick from Lebanon Fort, I think, and so their deck is this one right here with the Valkyrie, Skull Queen, Boneyard, Fire Elemental. Actually a lot of cards I use on a regular basis, so I'm like, let's give this a try. This should be pretty interesting just to see, because obviously their card levels are different, and again, obviously the top player sort of changes sometimes, so I'm sure today there's already a different player who's on top, but at the time of this video, that was the top player, so already going in here with the Catapult. This is a very powerful deck actually, seems pretty good, even at my card levels. I just feel very comfortable with it. Partly because I'm using the Valkyrie a lot. I use the Boneyard a fair bit too. So, feel fairly comfortable with the strategy of this deck. And a lot of the matches are pretty quick, but I was still able to get some pretty interesting and entertaining ones as well. And the Boneyard is probably one of the cards I like to start with. So it is a decision early on. Do I want to use like the mana ritual for the Boneyard, or do I want to hold it for the Valkyrie? Kind of depends on what I think they're doing. But I like the Boneyard here just because, again, with those mud elementals out, I didn't want them to be like metamorphing something, so it was good to have the skeletons. But once I could, I got the Valkyrie out, and then it was pretty much just all about going after their castle, because I could see I already did so much damage to their castle. I figured I could probably just go for the castle, and with all three lanes having something in them, that was enough to basically get the job done. Maybe not quite, but as I suspected, they had a dragon there, so if I just played to completely counter their castle, it would have been difficult. I mean, their cards, it would have been difficult. I didn't really have the firepower to do that. I had to kind of go for the castle, and at least now I know that if I draw a Fire Elemental, I'll win the game. So, and I don't have to counter their other dragon completely, so, or Catapult. Catapult wins the game too. Boom. See, I didn't have to completely counter all their cards. I just had to deal enough damage to put myself in the position to win if I got the right cards. So, opening up a couple of chests here. Nothing super crazy. Still looking for that legendary pull. I haven't had a legendary card pull in so long, I feel like. So, still hoping for that. But here you're going to see this deck just completely actually kind of shut down a rushing deck, I think. They had the Reaper going strong, but I decided I was going to really focus down that Reaper. I was not going to give them a chance to get like a protection down or something on that. Absolutely had to prioritize it. And again, you can see the Boneyard paying off. They had to metamorph and went for it and got a skeleton. So another Reaper coming out here. The Val can be a counter to the Reaper, but I thought I just wanted access to that Fire Elemental, because I know the Fire Elementals can really put some pressure on them, especially on a rushing deck. And now with access here to the Catapult, I was waiting to see if they were going to play any other sort of, Reaper or some sort of damage card that I could hit with the Fire Elemental, but then they didn't, so I just went for the win, and worked out pretty good. But again, the Boneyard is really quite decent as a starting card. You can see why it was so powerful before they nerfed its mana cost. It was really, really good at 4 mana. Like, it was a really good opening card at 4 mana. So I decided to get rid of the Ice Elemental because otherwise the Skull Queen isn't going to be as useful. And then end up going for the Boneyard again just because I had the Skull Queen out there, so it kind of made more sense. Otherwise I was going to go for the Valk, and I do put the Valk out next. And I'm very happy with how this is looking at this point, because now I basically stopped their push. Just that one golem hitting my castle, and I don't really care about that. So, and then, yeah, right at their castle, doing damage, and in prime position to finish this off, especially with catapult number 2. That's really going to the end unless they had another gust of wind, which they did not. So, finishing that one off. And again, going with the boneyard. The boneyard is pretty reasonable as a starting card. If you have some sort of mana card in your deck, without one, it's probably a little tricky to get out there because it is 6 mana, so sometimes you're going to get outpaced if you plan for that to be your starting card and you don't have any mana cards to help you. But with some mana cards, you can make boneyard, you know, a starting card in the match, and it's always great just because it gets positioning for you, and especially with catapults, that type of positioning is really, really, really valuable. So, and they can block a little bit for catapults too. Here you can see my opponent had a DPS advantage on the castle, and I don't know what I was doing here. I was trying to think, but I managed to get that fire elemental in just in time. I was debating that or the Valkyrie, but I think I made the right choice. And then Valkyrie for the other lane. I don't have many hit points to work with at this point, so I'm like, yeah, I gotta really cover all the lanes. Again, the fire elemental coming in clutch. And now we have the skeletons. Unless they have a ranged damage card, we should really be good. And we got it. Fantastic win. I was surprised this deck was actually pushing trophies pretty well. So this person was trying to set up a necromancer, but I already had the skeletons on them, and it was really just pretty straightforward win here, picking up these trophies. I like how fast this deck is for trophy pushing too. Skull Queen decks are usually pretty fast paced decks, and this one is, and I definitely like it. Probably going to keep this deck for future trophy pushing, actually, because it seems pretty good. So, key thing about this one, though, was that I passed for 5,400 trophies and got back into Grandmaster 2. So, ranking up a little bit, got the victory chest as well, and still no legendary. Some point I will get another legendary from one of these chests. It is just a matter of time at this point, so I am waiting for that. And in the meantime, here, you can see I'm thinking, do I want to use boneyard? I decided to go for the boneyard because I did not have the Valkyrie. So, boneyard seemed to be the best thing to use that mana ritual on, because I do like it a lot as a starting card. They play Mud Elemental, which means it's even better because the skeletons are going to stop them from getting metamorphed down. I've really been ignoring cards like that Mud Elemental and just going for the other two lanes. And that seems to work out pretty well. They couldn't really do much. So, just another easy 30 trophies. More easy points. Once again here, hopefully a good illustration of why this deck is good against rushing decks. Which makes sense because it is key. You would think that a good trophy pushing deck would have to be good against rushing decks, or at least have some counters to them. And you can see how fast I turned this one around. Like, just completely turned around the positioning. And I've got the 3 lanes blocked, so they can't rush in them. Got another Reaper down. It's 2 Reapers down. They can't have too much left. The damage is pretty close here, but I'm continuing to... They're doing a good job blocking, but just that standard bear isn't going to get them the damage they need. And we finish them off. So this is a weird start here. I don't have the boneyard right away. I do finally get it, though, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, we're going to put the boneyard down, and demon on demon, not normally what I would play, but my objective was the positioning. Want to keep the lanes clear. Good counters by them. Was well played, so I decided I'm just going to do what I can. Luckily, I have good counters for something like a pirate. This is a tough push. You can see here, I decided I'm going to just try and secure one lane at least a little bit. And play the boneyard since it has the most synergy with the Skull Queen. And now I'm like, okay, tricky situation. I did what I could. I decided to go straight for their castle because they don't have that much castle health. And I have another fire elemental still. If I can just get off a few more hits with this catapult, I might be able to do this. I'm really close. Castle health, but I'm running out of options, and that may have done it against me. I don't know. I need to see if I can get one more card down, maybe. Ooh, the boneyard. That might be enough, except it didn't turn out that well. The positioning wasn't quite right. And then they have arrows to top it off, and I do draw the fire elemental, but it's too late. That one was tough. That was a tough... I thought I was going to have enough, but I just came up a little bit short. I could have tried to counter what they played, but I know for a fact that this deck usually probably isn't really meant to just straight up counter like an Orc Horde deck. So, you know, it's not really something, especially with the boneyard. I wanted to make sure I had enough cards to kind of make that happen. So this is a tough start, but I do have the Valk. And that recovered it pretty good. So I decided, ooh, tried to get rid of the Skull Queen, but it ended up being kind of a fail. You can see how much damage they've taken off my castle. That's unfortunately kind of a key problem with this particular match. They just got so much damage off of me early here. I'm trying to play defense, but now I have to somehow transition back onto offense. And I end up just thinking, yeah, I have to cover the lanes. And the Skull Queen is not helping, and you can see they're still continuing to get more damage off. And I'm like, whoa, dude, too many areas to cover, or just too many lanes. I should have played that in the middle lane. But... And then for whatever inexplicable reason, they actually threw their skeletons. If I'd had the fire elemental right there ready to go, I could have actually won that. I wasn't expecting them to swap positions, but I don't think they thought I had a fire elemental. So, yeah, unfortunate, but close match. This one, again, fighting for position early. Really fighting for position early, although I played the Valk really far back. Sometimes I like doing that because it keeps it from getting attacked as quickly. And now, once I get the catapult set up, I have the potential to do some major damage on this opponent very quickly here. And this may be enough to win. It looks like it should be. Looks like we're going to pick up a win. It's getting close, but I think now I've got it. Yeah, that was how a lot of wins were with this deck. Pretty standard, straightforward. That's what happens when you play it the way it should be played, I think. But it was working well for me, as you can see by my trophies. Really got some good gains throughout this video. Double boneyard plus Valkyrie. This should be a pretty epic start to this match. And I'm waiting for the card, and then I'm going to go all in here. Probably with both boneyards. Yeah, just to try and figure out where that shaman is. It's in front of the Valk. And then take it out with... Ooh, oh. Interesting. Well, decided to just go for the Skull Queen instead. I can't get rid of their Necromancer stack, but I'm already doing so much damage, I might not need to. Let's get rid of the Valkyrie. Oh, the lane swap. Well, this got interesting really quick. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, uh-oh. I think they got me here. I think they got me here. Yeah, I probably could have gotten it, but I really didn't have any... I didn't have a good defense of my castle there. So... yeah, I mean, it didn't work out. As soon as I went for that Spectre with the Demon and then they doubled down, I didn't even get it. That was a bad trade there, so... this one, though, looking much smarter. Getting both Storm Elementals down early. Very critical, because if they'd been left up, I almost certainly would have lost, I think. And instead, I just decided to go back the other direction. Counter the Valk. Good gust of wind by them. I'm wondering which of these Phoenixes I should counter. It's a lot to try and figure out. Where I don't think I did enough blocking here. I might lose because I didn't block the bottom lane enough. And then I'm trying to like go in on their castle. Actually, that might work, and it did work. I believe the Skull Queen really helped there at the end. Just gave those few skeletons just what it needed. That was a close match, really close match. Overall, though, this deck was great for trophy pushing. For me, I was pretty low trophies, so a lot of decks would have worked, but worked well for me, so maybe it could work for you too. I don't know. I'm going to be using this deck some more, though. I think it was a fun deck. I enjoyed it. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments and what other types of content I should create. Maybe subscribe if you're new to my channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.